Let's have a quick quiz, a real quick quiz. You know, a cathedral is the church of the bishop, right? Each diocese bishop has their own special church where they look over. And so there, for example, let me give you a couple of places if you know it. Let's say the Archdiocese of New York. What's the cathedral for New York? St. Patrick's, that's right. All right, good. One for one. Next, cathedral, let's say Boston, the Diocese of Boston. Who cares, right? Forget Boston, man. Boston. How about something locally? Right here in the Diocese of Orlando. What's our diocese? What's the bishop's church? What's the cathedral? It is the Basilica? No. St. James. How many have been to St. James? Raise your hand. You've been to the Basilica. Not too many. All right. Well, may put that on your bucket list. And this may be too easy. Okay. I ask you anyway. What is the cathedral church for Holy Father Pope Francis? Naturally, it is St. John of Lateran. That's right. I hate these smarty pants. Oh, Father, that's what ruined it, because most of us, myself included, if I had to get ready for this homily some years ago, I would never have known. I would have said naturally, St. Peter's, of course. I mean, Pope, St. Peter's, they go together like ham and eggs, that's it. But it's not. St. John Lateran. How many have ever heard of St. John Lateran until this morning? Oh, maybe a few, yeah, right. Well, okay. That's it. We don't know it, but it is the church, because it's in Rome, by the way. He's the Bishop of Rome. I guess Vatican is its own separate state, and it's even older than St. Peter's. But when we celebrate that, it's more than simply celebrating brick and mortar, a structure, a building. St. Paul tells us what the church is. He says, we are the temple of God, because we have the Holy Spirit within us. We are holy. We don't celebrate a building. We celebrate the people, those who are baptized. And so we see Jesus, his zeal for the house, right? He gets his temper, and those of us who have a short temper said, yay, there's Jesus. He got upset, so I can get upset as well. But he's upset because he's blocking the people from connecting to the Father to pray. But what I like best is that little phrase. He said, zeal for your house. Well, he didn't say it, but the apostle said it about him. Zeal for your house consumes me. And I thought to myself, and I asked others, what consumes you? What do you have a zeal for? What do you find yourself thinking about when you're driving? When your mind wanders? What's important to you? What do you have a zeal for? I want to show you this little clip. You want to talk about some crazy zeal or obsessions? Here we are.
Most of my neighbors do not know what goes on in this house.
At any given time, the Amatos are under the watchful eyes of over 1,000 rag dolls that have taken over every single room of their house.
As you can see, my wife is obsessed with Raggedy Ann.
Having our Raggedy Ann tea party. Having fun? In this cabinet, there are approximately 44 music boxes, 36 porcelain figurines. We found these at a flea market, my husband and I. They are from the early to mid-1920s.
Oh, I like that beard.
For some, Christmas is more than just a holiday.
I have dreams of fixing lights.
How can you look at a gingerbread and not be happy?
It's a year-round Yuletide obsession.
Well, there's never been a day that's gone by in the last 20 years that I haven't had a Christmas day.
That takes over every facet of their lives.
There is no room for anything else.
It's not Santa's house.
My name is Chantel Banks, and I'm crazy obsessed about my rats. I love rats more than I love people. When you find your purpose in life, you know it, and that was what happened to me.
That's nuts. That is nuts. Zeal for your house consumes me. That is what consumes you, right? We laugh, but we have our little things as well. How many people's your mood swings depends on whether your team wins or not. I mean, is it right? Well, you can't touch it. Oh my, I'm consumed by it, and the colors, the dress. We all have it, you know? And it's normal to be things that take up our time, and maybe I'm a parent, and that's what consumes me, right? And that's healthy. But sure, there are some things that are healthy. My job, making a living, those things are important. And I was thinking about myself, just going through my life. We all have different things that we become sort of obsessed with in some ways. One of the things back when I was in, let's say, it was middle school, probably 6th, 7th, 8th grade, whatever it was, I was obsessed, not with a measuring tape, no. I wanted to grow taller. I started playing basketball. I loved basketball. I said, oh, boy, I want to be tall. So I had my mother every day, almost seemed like every day, stand against the wall by the kitchen and put that little pencil mark, and I come and check it out. Next day, thinking, oh, maybe I grew overnight, hoping. I had one great prayer. I prayed to God, please, Lord. And since I love basketball, I just love to play. I said, just make me 6 foot. I wasn't being greedy. I didn't ask to be 6'3", 6'5". What's 6 foot? That's all. No. Never made it. But that was something that almost consumed me, trying to grow to be tall, or later on, and still all of us, right? How we look. Don't we consume with that? Come on, probably even still now. How we look, how we appear to others, how we dress. Well, even back then, those teen years, I would look is that a pimple? Oh my God. Is that another one? It was like, oh my gosh, I can't go out like this. And then later on, it was this. Oh my gosh, I never noticed. I have wavy hair. It's waving goodbye. I became consumed with that. That bothered me, obsessed with that. I was afraid to look in the bathroom sink. Look at the hair, look at my comb. Oh my goodness. Oh, we all do that. And maybe still today we consume looking at ourselves, how we look, and that takes, what a zeal we have. And all of us, sometime or other, have a zeal or consumed with the almighty scale, sometime. And maybe it's healthy, now we're eating bags of food and calories and grams. We weigh ourselves. I weigh myself after I shave, hoping even that, every little bit helps. And so I think. But it's interesting, what we are consumed by, what we have a zeal for. And again, some of the things are normal and they're healthy and they're necessary. But what are things of God? Does that ever register on my thoughts? Do I have a concern with things of God, serving others? We talk about stewardship now. Give myself my time, my talent, and my treasure, giving back. Do I have a zeal for others, to serve others? Is that important? We're going to let Rick speak to us a few minutes about his own zeal.
Father, many of you know me as Rick Grinstead, the guy that works with the youth, right?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
good.
Right.
Good. Many of you don't know me as Rick Grinstead, the forest ranger.
Wow.
Oh, you didn't know that, did you?
No.
See, when I went to college, I took this class called Life and Career Planning. And it told me if I just fill out this sheet, fill in all the bubbles, boom, 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 and it spits it into a computer, and out comes what I'm supposed to be. And that was it, forest ranger. But it was okay, because I had the name Ranger Rick then. Right? They had a magazine and everything just for me. I thought it was great. A year and a half in college, I spent as a geography and environmental studies dual major. I remember the moment I realized this is not where I'm supposed to be. It was in a class. I walked in to take the final exam. Check out the name of this class. It was called Air Photo Interpretation and Remote Sensory Analysis.
Wow.
I didn't know what it meant either, don't worry. I had no idea. We had to come into this final exam, 50 pictures around the room. You get a piece of paper, you get a pencil, you tell me what is circled on that photograph, right? These are photos taken from thousands of miles in the air. And we had to be very specific. The first one I come up to, it is just this, what looks to be a picture of, okay, we realize it was land, but there's this little circle there, and he said, what is that? And we had to tell him not that it was land. We didn't even have to tell him, oh, there's an orchard there, or even tell him that it was a tree. We had to tell him it was an apple tree to get the correct response. Yeah, you had to know from the elevation and what would grow in the area and everything. That was the moment I realized I am not where I am meant to be. But I always knew where I was meant to be. At the age of 15, I got the privilege and the honor. Somebody walked up to me at St. Francis Church up in Michigan, and they said, you could teach third grade. So I looked at who they were talking to. And then I realized it was me, and I said, well, I certainly can't do it alone, so I grabbed a buddy. And I started teaching religious education at 15 years old. And I got to tell you, I loved it. It consumed me. It was great because every time I would go in, I knew I was right where I was supposed to be, helping youth. because I needed help when I was young. I always felt like, wow, I can give back. I can help others. And I never feel more complete or more satisfied with my life as to when I'm helping others. Do you feel the same way? Yeah? Okay, good. 3 heads shook yes. I'm a little scared. No, I think we all feel that way, don't we? Don't we feel at our absolute optimum, our best person, when we have helped somebody else? Amen? There we go. Yes, absolutely. Even now, I get the honor and privilege of still working with youth. And I still have a zeal for it. Much like Christ had that zeal in the scriptures. You know, I told Father a little story. I actually reenacted that story from the gospel where Jesus walks in and tips over the tables and makes a whip out of the cords. I actually reenacted that at a high school. It was kind of like a lock-in type thing. And these kids, I had them all sitting on the ground. I thought this was great. I had the tables all set up. I had change. I collected change and I poured it out on all the tables before they ever got there. And they're sitting there waiting for me, and I come busting in just like Jesus. Boom, boom, and I take the tables and I flip the tables over. The problem was the change was pelting all the kids in the face that I had on the table. The effect was not what I wanted. But I had this zeal. I always wanted to be like Christ, and I found it in helping youth. And I got to tell you, St. Peter's Parish is my home. I might not have been born here. I might not have been raised here. I've only been here now for 8 years. This is my home, and I'll tell you why. The first moment I walked in that door, people greeted me. When I was on campus, anywhere here, people spoke to me. I found out we have over 80 ministries at St. Peter Parish. Can you believe that? That's amazing. The parishioners here, you in the pews, all of you who have helped in any way, shape, or form have encouraged me and continue to give me guidance and hope that I can do my job well too. Because it's not just about one person, it's about the community. So today, on this weekend, I'm not here to get any thanks. I don't want any thanks. You know what I'm here to do? I'm here to thank you. You inspire me to keep going, to keep working with youth. So today, St. Peter's parishioners, all of you in the pews, to you, I say, thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Good boy. That's enough. Don't get carried away with it. Wasn't acting. I want to thank Rick. You know, the problem with having people like Rick and Father Frank and Deacon Bob and the deacons, whatever, is that we begin to think, well, their job is to give, to minister, and our job is to take, to receive. You know, our job is simply sit here, stay awake, and don't complain. But their job is to do the ministry. But as we learn now that we are the Church of God, that all of us are ministers. Every member is a minister. We're all called to give. Maybe not quite the same way as others do, but we all have our own talent, own gift, our own niche, and we are to give. I've sort of a little story about this fellow named Joe Latini up in New Jersey. Had a nice meal down in Atlantic City. And during the meal, he felt to splurge a little bit, so he was going to order a bottle of wine, and he admits didn't know too much about wine, so he called the waitress and asked her if she can suggest some wine. And she gave him this name of the wine, I forget the name, and it sounded good to him. So he said, okay, well, how much does it cost? She said, $37.50. Oh, all right, we'll splurge, we'll go for the wine, and so he did. It was a great meal. In fact, he enjoyed the wine as well, and if he drank too much wine, he quickly sobered up when he got the bill. You see, because when he heard $37.50, he translated as $37.50. $37.50 was $3,750. Oh, exactly. That's more than he bargained for. And so sometimes I think as well, when we get baptized, we think the cost, the price was, okay, attend church on Sunday. If you're real good, you come every Sunday. All right, I'll go for that. But when you're baptized, it means this, that you also ought to give. You become a minister. Give your time, your talent, and your treasure. And some of us may have the same reaction that Joe Latini. Say, whoa, that's not what I signed up for. But it is. When you're baptized, that's what it means. I am to be a good steward. And so what is ministry? It means giving freely of ourselves, right? Giving freely of ourselves. About a year or two ago, I was on the phone with my mom. I could tell she was upset. I said, what happened? She said, well, I think she needed a ride from the airport to be picked up. It's 15 minutes, door to door from her house. 15 minutes. She said, ask your brother Raymond, but he couldn't do it because he's working. So I said, I asked him how about his son Little Ray, if he could pick me up. I know he was home. And my brother said, sure. And then he added this statement, how much are you going to pay him? And I said, what? How much are you going to pay him? My mom's old school. She watches on nickels and dimes, but it wasn't simply that. She said, wait a minute. I'm his grandmother. I don't go tick for tat, but all the things I do for him, you know what I mean? Wait a minute. How much am I going to pay him? Really? And sometimes we are the same way. Does everything I have to do have to have a price tag? Do I have to get paid? Can I simply say, wait a minute, I've been given so much by my Father. I want to give back. I freely give back. And these two things, one, ministry is helping others. Now, that's not sufficient because many people help others, especially as we come to holidays. We see many, many people helping others, those with different faiths, no faith, who live a life perhaps that we would not agree with morally, but they do good things. So it's not enough simply doing good things, helping others. It's this because I am a disciple of Jesus Christ. I do it because I am a disciple of Jesus Christ. And I wish to honor and thank my Father. And so these next few weeks we look at stewardship. In fact, next week I have a chance to recommit or sign up and somehow, how am I going to give back? Like that woman with those rats, she's right that when you find your purpose, you find your peace and your joy. Well, so many of us struggle to find our peace and our joy, and I tell you this, you want to find your happiness? It's not by focusing in on yourself. Stop focusing in yourself. The more you look, the more you find what's wrong. Stop focusing on yourself. Get out of yourself. Don't measure yourself against others. Don't compare. You compare, you despair. And if you think you have the weight of the world, carrying the burdens, the problems you have, you want to relieve your weight, the problems, when we help others, we help ourselves. When we help the burdens of others, my own burdens become light. So you think about that. Think about this week. What do I have a zeal for? What consumes me? And what am I giving back to God? God bless you. Good old Gina. Good old Gina.